right, lesson 9.4. We're going to solve some quadratic equations. And the first thing we need to talk about is the zero product property, which is right over here. And it says if you have A times B equals 0, then either A has to be 0 or B has to be 0. And that should kind of make sense, because if I take a number, say like 3, and times 0, well, it's going to be 0. So either this or this has to be 0 to get you 0. So we're going to use that when we're solving these quadratic equations, because what we have here is we have this. So either this quantity is 0 times this is 0, or maybe it could be this one times 0 is 0. And I kind of think about this like when I taught you guys absolute value functions, that you had that option of it either being kind of like positive or negative. So again, it's kind of back to that. We are going to have two answers on these. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, is this, like, is A 0? So we're going to take this and say x minus 4. Is that 0? Add 4 to both sides, which, by the way, you should be able to do mentally there. So think about this. If x equals 4, and I plug in 4 right here, 4 minus 4 is 0. Well, even if I plug in a 4 here and make this 6, 0 times 6 is still 0. So that works. Okay, then I'm going to do the second one. I'm going to do x plus 2 equals 0. So I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides, and I get x equals negative 2. So let's look at this solution. If I put in negative 2 here, negative 2 plus 2 is 0. If I put in negative 2 here, negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6. Negative 6 times 0 is still 0. So therefore, I have two answers, and the answer could be 4 or negative 2. Now, what you have to be careful here is this is not written as an ordered pair. It's very similar to our absolute value function. So you do not write it like this, because that shows that it's an ordered pair. This is not an ordered pair. It's actually two separate answers, and so you need to write it like that. And you can have those reversed. If you have x equals negative 2 equals 4, that's fine too. All right, so on the second one, it's a little bit more complicated, but still the exact same thing. Either this quantity is 0 or this quantity is 0. So again, I'm going to set up two separate equations. Make this equal 0. 3x minus 1 equals 0. And I'm going to solve both of those equations. So on the first one, I'm going to go ahead and add 5 to both sides. So I get 2x equals 5. Divide both sides by 2. And x could be 5 halves. Then I'm going to go to the other side. I'm going to add 1 to both sides over here. Get 3x equals 1. Divide both sides by 3. And x can be 1/3. Oh, look at that. They're both fractions. You guys love fractions. All right, so this is going to be x equals 5 over 2, or 1/3. And there is your final answer.